Hello, welcome to my channel. This is iFaceMe TV where we learn millinery and lifestyle. So today we are going to be doing Rita Dominic design. If you can remember the fascinator that Rita Dominic wore on Priscilla's wedding, that's Yabo Ojo's daughter's wedding. Okay, if you can remember it, we're going to be doing something close to it, but this time I'm not going to be using exactly what they use. So let's go. Okay, so I have my wire. Now I cut my wire in different lengths, okay? And then we're going to be tying it. The wire I cut, they are 10. Okay, 10. And the first one is about 30 inches. So you can do a freestyle. It's not necessary you do exactly what I did. So you could just do, if it's 25, 30, 10, 13, but let it be 10 long ones, okay? So I'm going to be using this shining bias, okay, with our regular millinery wire. So you can use any millinery wire and this bias, as you can see, this shining bias to wrap it. So you take your time and begin to wrap all the 10 wires that you have cut down, okay? We're going to be covering it with this shining gold bias, okay? So if you're going to do a different color, maybe you want to do green, you do the same, you use a green, shining bias. So that's what we're going to be doing for all of them. So now we have done it. Can you see now? We have our 10. Okay, so let me measure it so that you see how long. This is the longest. So you see how long the longest is, which is 30. Okay, and then you see the shortest. The shortest, I think, is about 13 or so. Not too sure. Let's see. 13. Can you see? So you just freestyle, okay? Freestyle and then just do, okay, 10, 20, 30, 15, 18. But let it just be 10 sticks. Okay, but it's not restricted to 10 sticks. If you want to do 20, if you want to do 15, you're free to do as many sticks as you desire. Okay, just learn the technique, right? Okay, so I have them all put together, and now I'm going to be tying them together as one. So at this point now, it's no longer a wire. We'll call it a flower stem or a tree. Okay, so make sure you tie it very well, because this point where you're tying it is where we're going to be sewing. Okay, is where, if you want to try to put our needle through the wire that we have wrapped, it will be kind of difficult. So where we have tied is where will be our point, where we'll be attaching it to our fascinator. So I bent it. Okay, I bent it. So we're going to be attaching it to that fascinator with our needle and thread. Okay, so you know that it's supposed to be a stem, right? So we would try to twist it a bit before we attach. Okay, so you see me trying to twist it, trying to, bend it so that it will not be straight. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm touching everything and trying to bend it so that it just look very, nice. Do you understand? Okay, it just look like a tree. Can you see that? So that's what we're going to be doing for every of the flower stem. Now you see that as I folded it will not be 20, because everything will just look like they are together. Okay, so if you want more, if you want it more, you can do like 15 or 20. So it depends on what you want to achieve. Okay, so we make sure that they are all close to each other. Can you see that? So you press it very well and make sure that it's all close to each other, and then we begin to tack. Okay, so we're going to be tacking it with our thread and needle, as you can see. Okay, and we're going to be tacking it for a very long time. You know why? Because the wire is heavy, like literally heavy, and we don't want it dancing on your customer's head, right? So we're going to tack and tack and tack, make sure we tack it until it's very firm. So when you shake it, you see that it's not shaking. So this process is what we're going to be doing. In fact, this is where the work is, to tack it, because I tacked and tacked. I tacked and tacked. I knew that I have tacked. Okay. So make sure that you tack it until it does not shake again. Do you understand? Okay. You see, it's still shaking. So you need it to be firm. Really, really firm. So you're going to tack it very well. Okay. So you see that I use the gold color, something close to what we used to wrap. So if you're using other color, please maintain same color so that your work doesn't look tacky. It looks really, really nice. Can you see now that is a bit firm? Are you seeing it? Okay, so we don't want it standing straight. So I'm trying to bend it, let it tilt to a side. Okay, so we're going to be covering that part that we have sewn. Okay, you see this petal that I use, I got it from the fabric of the base. Okay, but you can, if you don't have that, maybe use just a plain fabric. You can just get any flower or rose, okay, to cover where you have tacked, so that it just look like the flower is coming through the fascinator. When you don't know the idea of how we make fascinator, you just be wondering, how did they put this thing? Is it that it's growing under the fascinator? Do you understand? uh, so when you do it this way, they'll be wondering, how did she attach it? What did they do? How did that thing stand? This is the trick. Oh yeah, you tack. When you finish tacking, you use same fabric to cover all that you have tacked, so your customers will not even have a bit of idea of what and how you created this masterpiece. Okay, so I used my E6000 glue to cover those parts that we tacked. Okay, I'll make sure I cover it as neatly as possible, and I'm going to be covering everywhere. There will be no trace of a place that we tack. There will be no trace like that. So we'll just try to cover. So if you're not sure that your E6000 is original, please advise that you tack the petals that we're using to cover. Okay, but if you're sure that your E6000 is, or B6000, 7000 is original, then you're sure that it will not pull off, it will not go off. But if you are not sure, please kindly tack as you place them. Okay, so here we have it. Can you see how it flows? So you will not even guess like that we tacked on top. So the next thing we're going to be doing is our feather. Of course, we know how to do this, right? If you don't know how to create feather leaves and all, mount and all, please, I have a lot of tutorials on my YouTube channel that you can watch to learn how to do this. Or you sign up for my feather mount class, okay, or feather flower class, right? And then you learn how you can create this, because it's really pretty easy. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using now. In Rita Dominic's own, they use the sinamay. So the person that did it used sinamay. That means he shaped the sinamay looking like a leaf. But I thought to myself, let me do something different. In fact, I will try using the crinoline next time. I'm going to be trying that. Okay, but I just said let's use the feather to create, the design. Okay, and then I started making it smaller. Okay, I gave it a V, because that V sometimes it gives it a very unique, shape. Okay, all how we do it is all in the class. So if you're interested in class, just send me a message. I will share the link with you. I think it's 5,000, not sure, 5 or 10,000. I'm not too sure, in naira. Okay, so these are the feathers that we're going to be attaching on the stem. Okay, all these are going on the stem. The stem is those wire that we wrapped that looks like stick now, wrapped with our bias, right? That look like stick. So that's what we're going to be using to create our leaves, look like a leaf. Okay, so every point at the tip you're going to be putting, in my own I put two. So as I put on this side, I'll put on the opposite side. So you just scatter it all over. All right, you can put your glue there, you can gum it. So at every point, so maybe in a stem now, you can put in 3 places. It depends on how long it is. You understand? So you're going to put glue, allow it to dry. What makes when you do attach your flower on a glue, if it's not dry, it will fall off and it will not even get attached anymore. So the idea is for you to allow it to dry. Allow your glue on the stem and then on the feather to dry. Okay, so that when you put both of them together, it will stay, nothing will remove it. But if you don't allow it to dry, it will fall off. Okay, so make sure that when you're applying it, you wait, try to wait for it to dry a bit. Okay, so that when you attach it, it will stay. Okay, you see this one will not stay because I did not allow it to dry. I have to start holding it. You see it's falling off, but there's glue there. Why? Because I have to wait a while, just a little, and then we place it. That makes your work even faster, than struggling with, placing the feather at each point. So that's how you're going to be putting everywhere. So you see it. You see what I'm doing there. Can you see that? So I put everywhere. You see that at the tip up, I put two facing each other. So you just freestyle and just place it in places that, points that will reflect. Okay, make sure that there's glue at that tip. And then where there is glue, okay, because it's dried, make sure it's dried. If it's not dried, it will not stay. So here we have it. So what do you think? Which is better? Is it the Rita Dominic own or this my own? Let me see your answer in the comment section. Are you going to be trying it? Please try and send to my email. Thank you. So make sure, if you like what I'm doing, make sure to like, to share, and to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Ciao.